Welcome to Closer Cult Podcast. I'm your host, Alma Merrill. This is the place where we dive into topics like self-improvement, real estate. We talk about things like personal growth. We feature interviews with guests offering insights into their expertise in different areas. You can catch Closer Cult Podcast on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the TikTok. Today on the show, we have a very special guest from St. George, Utah. He's been a top producer in real estate for well over a decade. He was a managing broker for the #1 Century 21 office in the world. He's the host of the Purpose Driven podcast. Women and children love him. The elderly adore him. He is Alex Cornwall.
How much money do I owe you for that one? Holy crap.
I hit with my elbow. I hit my pad, and it's like.
Oh.
So, dude, yeah, thanks, man. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being on. I'm happy to have you on here, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm very grateful to get back into doing this. I took quite a bit of time off on my podcast, and this is going to be a good one to get mine going again.
Yes. Well, and you know, it's kind of a calling for you, I think, as well. Like, right, the podcasting thing and the whole process. I really believe that. Like, you as a person, you as a producer, I mean, that step for you is in sharing and contributing and guiding. And I'm just glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're doing it.
I'm glad I'm here too. Thanks for having me on.
So a little bit about Alex. So besides what I mentioned in the intro there, so how long have you actually been in real estate in the biz?
You know, I've had my license for 20 plus years, like 21. I got it back in 2003.
Okay.
But it actually took me 16 years to figure this business out.
Really?
Yeah. So I was just too stupid and naive to quit. I really was. So yeah, year 16, there was an aha moment. I was like, oh, this is how you do it.
And what do you mean by that? Like you were stupid and naive. You just feel like,
you know, I was just going through a lot of personal shit in my life at that time. You know, when I first started real estate, I hit it off really good. You know, I did really well. 2008 crash hit.
Yes.
Lost everything.
Yes.
I personally lost my identity at that time, went through a lot of struggles in my life.
Jeez.
And it wasn't until I was about 16, 2018, 19 that I was like, you know, I made me some declarations, personal ones we could talk about that, you know, I stopped chasing and I just started living.
And let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah. What do you mean by you stopped chasing, you started living? Because I think that's a critical point of the business, that when people get to where they're highly successful, that's what they do, and talk about what that is.
Well, how often in life, I mean, you really think about it. I mean, that we're always chasing the dream or chasing something. Well, when we're chasing something, do you ever really catch it?
No.
Very rarely, unless you're a freaking cheetah and you know, but a lot of times the gazelle gets away, you know? So for me, like I remember in 2018, I was going through some pretty rough time, just got fired from a job that I thought was going to be really good as a broker. Sat in my car and I wrote 3 declarations down. And the first one that I wrote down, I was in a dark time, man. I was like, first thing I wrote down was stop chasing life and just start living. So often we're just chasing the next thing in life and stuff like that. But when was the last time we actually stepped back and just looked at what we currently have today and just have that gratitude for what we have?
Yes.
You know, we're always chasing the future, but what creates that future?
The now.
Stop chasing it. Just start living today, changing today.
Because the joy in the entire process isn't in the future. We can't access the future. We can only access the now.
Yeah. And what we decide to do today, the decisions we're making currently right now, is going to dictate that future. So if you want to change the future, focus on today.
So how did that change your business? I mean, from, you know, you said you basically dicked around for 16 years until you came to the point where you were like, you kind of figured it out. What changed? When you figured it out, what changed?
Well, my mindset changed. I mean, it really came down to I was blocking myself. I was my own worst enemy when it came to that. And so for me, it was like, okay, sit down, create a plan, work the plan every single day. And that plan is going to dictate your future.
And how did you start to see or feel or experience success? What did it look like? How did it come? Because man,
For
dude, I've
me,
been to your
it
house. I've
was,
seen your vehicles. I've seen your toys. I've seen, you live a incredible lifestyle, and you've really created an incredible lifestyle for yourself. And
well, I mean, and we can talk about that too. I'm literally starting over one more time. You saw the past lifestyle that I had,
yes,
but I just went through some stuff today or this past couple months that, yeah, I'm
well,
starting over one more time,
well, shit.
you
Let's
know?
talk about that because that's a little more real than hey, I have it all figured out, right?
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like, if you're not reminding yourself of constantly day by day of staying in the now, you will get lost. And I got lost for the past couple of years, thought I'd made it in some things, thought I had it, struggled at home, and that caught up with me. So for me, the biggest focus that I've been having right now is, okay, what can I do today? And by creating that plan,
Mm-hmm.
by surrounding myself with successful people, that's a key, and stop chasing it and just go to work.
I
Just go to
remember,
work.
I remember I had my first marriage. I'm on my second marriage. My first marriage, I had a similar scenario where I had all this success, but it was like I hit this point of like a ceiling, like I couldn't go any
Mhm.
further, and it was such a mental game. It was such a mental fuck for me, to where until I alleviated the issues out of my life, there was no way I was going to be able to succeed on the next level and go to the next
Yeah.
point. And it wasn't all about the income. It was about the happiness too. It was about feeling joy and feeling confident and feeling content, feeling, you know,
Well,
feeling,
if yeah, if you're not fulfilled and feeling fulfilled at home, how are you supposed to be fulfilled at work?
But Alex, we're supposed to just stay in relationships and work it out. We're just supposed to stay in misery. Wait, endure, Alex. We need to
But
endure.
if that doesn't serve you,
Right.
why would you stay in it? And that was a hard lesson for me. Like, even this last divorce that I went through, I've got double D's now, and they're expensive, man. I got double D's.
You had to buy
And so,
double D's and you had to divorce, and now you.
yeah, yeah. Luckily I didn't have to buy any.
Oh, that's good. That's
Um,
good. I haven't had
for
to yet
me,
either.
these last few months, I've actually reflected on that past couple of years that I went through in this last one, going like, Alex, you were depressed because you weren't who you are. You became somebody you weren't. You were reverting back into that old Alex because you forgot to remind yourself of your declarations, of live in the present. Stop chasing life. Stop chasing the value stop chasing the external things that you think that will give you validation. Because
Like,
ultimately, do they?
do they?
No. And
No.
it comes into my secular declaration that I have is stop chasing money and just go start serving people. And that's really, you ask that question is like, what changed in your business? That's the declaration that changed my business. I stopped chasing the dollar. I stopped chasing the commission. I just started calling people to say, hey, how can I help?
So you went
How can I
from
help you?
you went from chasing the almighty dollar, having commission breath, essentially, right,
Yep.
to having a servant's heart and a
Yeah.
servant's mindset, and that changed it for you. That was it.
I mean, you really think about it. When you're serving at a high level, who do you need to become to serve?
You need to become your best self.
And the byproduct is the income.
So
So
the
I
purpose
created
isn't the
value
income. The byproduct
it,
is the income.
so when you're chasing the dollar, you're trading time for money. When you're serving people, you're trading value for wealth.
Oh, dude, I love that.
So for me, it came down to, okay, just go serve. The byproduct's going to be there. The byproduct will show up as long as you're, number one, living in the present, creating that plan, doing the best you possibly can by just living life.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, serving the people,
Okay.
serving the people that you work with, serving who you are. And it comes down to actually serving yourself. Number one, because I'm a firm believer you cannot give what you do not possess. So if you are depressed and sad and feel lonely and always chasing love and chasing this at home, are you really the best version of yourself?
So how do you, when that shit hits the fan, when life actually happens, when you are feeling depressed, or you're in a conflict of relationship, what would you advise people? How would you advise them to navigate that? Because for me, when I was in that scenario, dude, I shut down. I went away. I stopped selling. I stopped producing on any level,
Yep.
and I lost everything because
Yeah,
I stopped,
I got into debt. I mean, it was tough. I struggled. For me, it was, I'm a fix it guy. So I feel like I just needed, I can fix this.
Mhm.
Oh, they'll come around. It's okay. You just continue to try to fix it. But it comes to the point where you just need to just accept what it is and move on. And I hate to say that.
So surrender.
Yeah, surrender to what's going on. Surrender to to your actual, external, experiences that are taking place, and just surrender to it and say, okay, does this serve you or not? If it really doesn't serve you, if it is not bringing the best of version of you out, then it's time to move on. And it comes down to my third declaration. Like, this leads into it. And I need to change it, because what I wrote down was fuck people. And the reason why I said that is you cannot rely on other people.
Ladies, that's not a blanket offer. Okay. He's not
No.
blanket offering. All right.
No,
What
but
do you
it
say? I'm
comes
sorry,
down to
dude. I was getting,
you can't get validation from other people. You have to get your own validation.
okay.
You cannot rely on other people.
So don't choose your validation, or don't follow the validation of other people to feel successful or complete. Is that kind of the
Exactly.
message?
Exactly. Like, it's all about proximity. If you hang around with negative people, what's going to take place in your life?
Yeah. Tony Robbins says that, right? He says proximity is power.
It is. So you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. So, like, make sure that you're hanging out with the people that you want to hang out with. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals that are pushing themselves, that are growing, that are progressing. And it's hard, especially when you're in a relationship.
Yes.
And I'm not one to give relationship advice.
No,
I'll be the
bro,
first.
you're through 2 divorces. You suck at relationships, bro. No.
I do, honestly. And it does take, and I'm not perfect at it.
You know what, though? I want to reframe that, though, because that's what people would ultimately say, right? But in reality, the more experience you have with different things, the more intellect you gain on those things. And so in reality, candidly, the best marriage therapist or counselor would be the one that's been divorced 5 times, because they understand how to keep it together. And, they always say, like, your first one and your second one, they go pretty similarly. And then the third and the fourth and the fifth, usually, they're usually better. Or they say the last one. So I don't know. Maybe you got to go through a few to get to the.
I don't know, man.
Or don't get married at all.
I'm not peaches and cream either. Like, I have my faults. I know that I didn't show up or how I should have in a lot of things, but I'm able to reflect on that and go, okay, what did you learn? And where can you go from here? So failure and loss are 2 totally different things. I think we use failure way too much in society. Like, oh, you failed at that, go move on. I think failure happens only when you quit.
Okay, I like that.
I think we take a lot of losses. If you're open to growing and actually learning from your mistake and actually learning from your challenges, you just took a loss. So, okay, if you're taking a loss, like it's in football, like when you
can
lose
still be
that,
a winner
that game,
and take losses. You're just, but you
Yeah,
don't, you just don't want to be a failure, which means to quit and walk away.
exactly. So my goal in life is to have a whole bunch of losses, because I know through those losses, I'm going to become the man that I'm supposed to become. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. Am I going to be perfect? Am I going to revert back into that old man that I was? Absolutely. But at least now I can acknowledge it and be aware of it so I can move on,
Yeah. So you can grow.
so I can grow. And that's
No,
really what it all comes down to, is acknowledging, accepting, and moving on.
acknowledging, accepting, and moving on.
Because if you don't accept it, think about it. If you don't accept your fault, are you really able to move on?
No, I don't think so. I mean, not cleanly,
Exactly.
not authentically, right?
And
Like,
one of the things that's really hard too is you gotta cut out the chatter too of the people that knew you in the past, that never will think that you will never change.
like your family.
Family, friends, acquaintances in business, and people like that. Like, you got to make sure and that all comes down to, you got to know who you are as a human being, and you got to look inward before you look outward.
Yeah, dude, it's the adage, it's the old adage of like, what do they say? You can't be a prophet in your own village.
Yeah,
You,
it's so true.
you have to leave your village. And that's part of the reason I moved to Florida from Utah. Even though I had high levels of success and production, I knew I wouldn't be able to grow Closer Cult, Closer University, or my new thing, Blender Podcast, unless I was in kind of a new environment.
Yeah.
Colton Lindsay talks about having location freedom as well as financial freedom. He's like, if you can have financial freedom, but you don't have location freedom, you're something screwed up. If you can't choose where you want to exist and live and enjoy, then you need to realign, because,
Yes.
and in our culture where we grew up kind of in the Mormon culture, the Mormon environment, I thought I was going to live in Utah forever, dude. I thought that was my ending point. And I feel like for me, in order to grow to the next level, or to be at the next place where I felt organically and authentically guided to go by my creator, I had to choose a different environment. And so I loved when Colton Lindsay would say that, like, location freedom. Oh shit, that's important.
It is. It is really important. That's something that I need to work on in my life right now too, is like, okay, you're Alex, you're starting over. Like, where are you going? What are you doing?
Well,
How
and
are you going to do this?
you're in serious transition, right? Can we talk a little
Yeah.
bit about, like, get a little bit deeper into the process of transition? Because this is your second time around. This is a real, actual life thing. This is shit people
Yeah.
really go through. I think a lot of successful people, they want to show all their successes, but they don't want to show their L's. They don't want to show their losses. They don't want to show that, oh, I'm figuring this marriage thing out, or I'm going through another divorce so I can optimize my existence and go to the next level and find I don't know if you want to call it your soulmate or whatever, but find my
So,
next.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hard, like I'm literally just coming out of it. And it's been tough. I won't lie. I mean, I've reverted back into the asshole Alex that I was and everything like that. I'm not perfect at anything that I'm not sitting here saying that I've been, like I said before.
Right.
Um, for me, it's been able to give me an opportunity though to grow in a way where I've been able to branch out and meet new people. Again, proximity has been big for me. Is like, okay, let's go explore. Let's go explore other people. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Surround yourself with people that are positive, that are uplifting, that actually see the good in me and I see the good in them.
So you're kind of forcing yourself into those social situations so
I have,
you
I
can grow.
have been, and it's been good for me just to, I am.
Why not just sit at home on the couch, dude? Why not just, you know what I mean? Like,
Because what would that give me?
yeah.
Like, since March, or actually since the 1st of March, I'm down 23 pounds. I've been hitting the gym hard. I've been watching what I
Wow.
weigh.
Yeah, you look
I've
good, bro. You do look good.
like I've been trying to, like, okay, how do I optimize me as me? What can I do for me to get me out of this rut to build the self-confidence back in myself, because the biggest thing going through when anybody goes through a challenge, whether it's divorce, whether it's losing everything, whether it's anything, you lose self-confidence. And I love what Ed Milet says about self-confidence. You want to build self-confidence, you keep the little promises you make to yourself.
And let them stack up,
So,
right? Let them
so
pile up.
when I first started getting, going through this, my self-confidence was shot. So for me, it was, I got up, I made my bed, I got to the gym. That's how I started. That's how I started back up.
I read somewhere that it, in order, self-confidence isn't something that you have before you go do amazing things. What you do is you go do amazing things and then you gain self-confidence from it.
Exactly. So you're keeping those promises.
Do you resonate with that then?
Yeah, I resonate totally with that, because it wasn't until I got home from the gym, I saw my made bed. I was like, hey, you accomplished what you needed to accomplish. And then from there, I added, okay, get back to the basics of life. Are you writing in your gratitude journal?
Yeah.
Are you meditating like you used to? Are you doing the things that you used to do when you were present in the moment day? And so I started just adding on to that list of everything. Now, am I perfect at it? No. Do I do it every day? No. But I do know that I'm conscious about it and I'm aware about it. And I know that I got the 80-20 rule. 20% of the time, I'm going to do jack shit. There's going to be sometimes I sleep in like, fuck it. But it's those 80% of the times that I am showing up for myself that I know that will bleed over into serving others.
Yeah, you may take a couple extra fuck it Fridays, huh?
Hey, and honestly, those are okay. Those are totally okay. Because if we can't give ourselves grace, again, you cannot give what you do not possess. If you can't give yourself grace, how do you expect to give somebody else grace when they're being a shithead to you?
Now you've had quite a bit of experience giving yourself grace, right? You've had some pretty interesting
I have
moments in your life experiences. I mean, one of the things that I know about you is you have just an incredible heart. You have an incredible desire to serve. You have an incredible connection ability. Like, you connect to people. I would say, and I hope people say this about me when I die, is that he never met a stranger. Everybody was his friend. That's you in a nutshell. Like, I feel like you have, and the reason why people are so drawn to you, drawn to your podcast, drawn to you as a leader and as a mentor, is because you actually give a shit about people. You actually care about individuals.
Sometimes too much. Sometimes that's my fault. And that's something that I have had to watch and actually lean on and actually learn from, because one of the things that I'm a fix-it guy.
Yeah.
So if I see someone down or hurt or something's going on, friendship, relationship, I mean, you name it, a friend, they're fighting. Like, I'm always the one, oh man, I wish I could help them.
Yes.
That's the first thing I think about. But is it my place to help them?
Is it? I guess that's a choice, right?
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, so often we are, as a fix-it person thinking you have to fix, we take other people's emotions on and kind of put ours to the side. And it's not healthy.
Well, no, because it all it's doing is distracting us from our own.
Exactly. I mean, how often in a real estate deal that you're like, the seller's struggling hard, and you're like, man, I just want to help them. Yeah, I'll just give back half the commission. It's okay.
Right.
And like, when you look back on it going, yeah, you helped them out. Yeah, you served good. Yeah, you're going to get referrals from it. But did you really need to do that? Because they put themselves in that own situation.
And plus, did you, in the end, did you serve them, or did you take away the lesson that they needed to learn?
Exactly. So
I wonder that, because I've had people and family members that I've served on a really high level financially and helped them. And I believe I did them a disservice by helping them too much, because I took their struggle, I took their pain, I took their effort literally away from them, and I fixed it for them, and I brought it back to them clean and ready to go, ready to rock. They didn't have to do a fucking thing,
and,
you know?
and I'm guessing that they were ungrateful.
Absolutely.
They expected it,
Yes.
and they played the victim.
Yes. And then they ultimately blame their problems on me. And I'm like,
Exactly.
what are you talking about? I just rescued your ass. But you're right. Well, if you give too much to people, and I learned this early on in my business. I had a mentor, our mentor, George Morris.
Yeah.
And I came to George and I said, dude, I'm in dire straits. I need this. I need that. I needed like $6,000-7,000 or I was going to just like lose everything. And I'm like, can you help me? And he goes, I can't. No, I can't help you. And I was like, you're the guy that has all the money, like he was like the guy I knew that had the most amount of money at that time in my life. And he didn't help me. And I learned an amazing lesson from that, because what ended up happening was, if he would have helped me, I know I would have expected it the next time and the next time. And and I learned so much at that moment from plowing through and recreating and regrowing and being creative about how to come up with that money. And in the end, I actually learned way more than what the money would have given me if he would have just handed me that shit,
Yeah.
And so I actually thanked him from that because of that later, and just said, hey man, thank you for not giving in and giving me money, because I needed, and he goes, yeah, you needed the lesson. I'm like, oh shit, dude, of course. Yes. He said, if I would have given it to you, you'd be a freaking spoiled brat,
This last few months, I've created a new term for myself that I've got the good guy syndrome.
The good guy syndrome. Oh shit.
Yeah. And again, it's to the fault. Like, it's like, yeah, I want to be a good guy. Yeah, I want to be there for people. But sometimes when you're too good for people, people take advantage of you.
Yeah, it's true, man.
And so you need to watch yourself and learn, like, okay, give with no expectation of anything in return, which is really hard to do, by the way.
Really hard. Yep.
But it's also give when you want to, not when you feel like you need to.
How do I tell the difference?
You can feel it. It's a feeling. Yeah. If you are giving with the feeling guilty, you're giving because you feel like you need to. If you are giving because you have love in your heart and you truly want to help them, you're giving with no expectation.
That makes sense to me. So how do I identify who to give to? Is that all a feeling? Do I loan to business associates? Do I loan to family? Do I mow lawns? Do I mow lawns for clients? Do I go over with a dolly and load boxes for clients? Like, what do I do? How do I identify that?
I think they just come. I think it's just opportunities. You create those opportunities in your, you create those opportunities in your, wow. I'll drink a Red Bull.
Get some Red Bull.
You create these opportunities by how you serve other people. So if you're truly out there serving and not chasing the dollar, these opportunities will come to you, and you'll be able to discern from them if you're always working on yourself.
Let's talk about let's talk about those opportunities. Like, when have you felt like it's a good time to say no to serving people? Like, I don't even know the full formula yet, like, and how George kind of identified it with me, but he definitely had a formula of like, no, this isn't the right time to help.
I think it's when you actually see potential in other people that they can't see is when you say no.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty cool. Cause some people cognitively may be incapable, right?
Exactly. So Alma, if you came to me and said, hey, I need $5,000, I'd ask you why and blah, 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 and this, that, but I know you're capable of doing it. I know you're capable. Yeah. If you needed it dire straight and stuff like that, yeah, I'd give it to you, but we'd have it back within a month.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know how I became capable? By fucking going through it,
Exactly. And so for me, it comes down to, like I see potential in you. I see your growth. I see you continuing to grow and progress. And I know you as a human being and as a person, and you can feel that. You resonate with people just as well as I do.
Yes.
You know, you connect, you grow, like you light up the room when you walk in, you feel that energy.
I am quite
So,
beautiful, and I think
yeah, I mean, you still don't have any gray in that beard
I
yet,
am,
and I'm getting a lot,
dude.
man.
This whole thing is gray, bro. I use just for men,
Oh,
dude. I dye it out.
well,
Oh, it's all gray. If you look close, dude, I have this line of gray that appears first right
you
here.
need to let it go, bro. Be you.
Oh no, dude. I can't. I can't let go, bro. I can't let go. You know where I would let go is if I did it really short like you, I would probably let it go because then your tan of your skin shows through, and then it kind of looks cool because there's contrast there. But if I have a big thick beard, dude, I want it all to be this like I don't want it to be all this patchy gray shit, white and gray and half gray and a little
Yeah.
bit of black. I want it to be consistent if it's a big old full thing. So yeah, I use just for men. I got no shame in that, bro. But I'm full gray
I love it.
underneath. I'm full
I love
gray.
I love the squirrel
My
right
hair
here.
though,
Squirrel.
dude, the hair is that's natural, bro. I got a little bit you can see kind of starting to come
Oh
through,
yeah.
but it's other than that, bro, that's natural. I am starting to get a few up there, but I'm okay with it. Maybe that's when I start to switch is when
I'm I'm becoming a silver fox, so
yeah, well, you're foxy, so it would matter. It would make sense.
yeah, dude. No, but going back to that, I honestly think you'll know. I mean, it really all depends on the people that come to you. And again, it's the opportunities that you create. I'm a firm believer you create opportunity in your life by
Mhm.
surrounding yourself with the right people and by your actions and what you do. So if you are cognizant about that and you are aware, like I want to surround myself with people, you'll know you're going to attract those people that you are able to serve at a
Mhm.
high level and want to serve, not
Yes.
need to serve.
Yes. Let me ask you this: when you were brokering, when you were managing an office full of people, a top producing office, and people would come to you, um, how would you what would you do when they would come to you and ask you for stuff or ask you for advice? I mean, how would you direct them to start to create their own solutions to their problems?
9 times out of 10, it was a problem they already knew the answer to, and I
Mm.
would just guide them to go find that answer.
Oh yeah, it was already within them.
It was already within them. So, for example, a lot of I truly don't believe people have a salesmanship problem.
Hmm.
I believe they have a mindset problem that affects their sales.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, I mean, if someone's not prospecting on a daily basis and they're coming to me going, I don't have any leads, I can't do this, what am I doing wrong? I immediately would ask, how many people did you call yesterday? Well, none. I said, why? Well, I'm scared of what they're going to say. Okay, there's the limiting belief.
Yes.
And then we'd work on that. We'd go learn a script, we'd go grow, and I'd go on the phone with them to help them grow,
So
to get over that limiting belief.
it's helping them self-discover their own solutions.
Exactly. I mean, you know, 9 times out of 10, if they had a question on the contract or something like that, I tell them, hey, why don't you go read the contract? That's one of my biggest pet peeves in this industry. Is an agent coming to me asking all this, like, okay, this is going on, this is going on. And I just look at them going, have you even
Mhm.
read the damn contract? Go read it and come back to me and tell me if you found the answer.
Dude,
9 times out of 10, they'd find the answer.
and people think that doesn't happen, right? Agents are there. Dude, I know agents. I was an agent, okay, who I had not read our real estate contract. The listing agreement, I had not read it all the way through. The real estate purchase contract, I read it through, but the listing agreement, dude, I had probably listed 20 homes before I actually read the listing agreement all the way through. Isn't that crazy?
Exactly. And we're handling the largest purchase or sale of someone's life,
I
and we
wouldn't
don't
have
even know
hired
what's in
me.
the contract.
I wouldn't have
Exactly.
hired me. Like, yeah, I didn't put in the
So
effort.
no, I mean, so a lot of times when I was a broker, I mean, it felt like I was herding cats.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. Most of the people that didn't like, I would help those that were like, I again, I saw like, okay, you've got value, you can provide, you got persistent, you've got it. I would help those people because I felt it. I was like, I'm going to help you get to that next level. If I didn't feel it in them, I didn't help them. That's one thing I loved about being a broker. People fired themselves.
So what would you say to you if you were your leader right now, if you were your own coach, your own mentor, and you went to yourself and you said, hey, I am in a really weird place right now. I'm transitioning. I'm recreating something in my life, and candidly, you're probably not recreating. You're just refining it, right? You're adjusting it. But what would you say to you? What would you say to Alex Cornwall? Hey, I'm going through divorce number 2. I'm kind of dealing with a lot of shit right now, emotional, mental stuff. What would you tell you?
Get back to the basics. Championships aren't won on the championship field, the game. They're won by mastering the technique and the basics of what you do.
Everything that led up to that championship.
Everything that led up to that championship. So get back to the basics. And the basics, number one for me, it's what are you doing in the morning? What's your morning routine? What are you doing by yourself so you can show it for others?
Because really, if you master your morning, you win the week, right? If you master your morning every day, you win the week, regardless. Because if you, I remember George used to tell us, he would say, if you take care of everything, you master your hours between when you wake up and basically 11 or 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., you'll master the entire day. The rest of the day will fall into place masterfully.
Exactly. So what are you doing in the morning? Be anal about your morning routine, number one. But also be building that self-confidence. Get that confidence back in yourself so you know that without a doubt, this is going to work. It's going to happen. You kind of expect it because you are mastering every single day as best as you can. Some days are better than the others. Some days you kill it. Other days you don't.
What does your best day look like when you wake up? You do what? I know you mentioned you make your bed. What else do you do?
That's the first thing I do now is I wake up and I make my bed. I make my bed. Make your fucking bed.
And I've seen that meme, right? That military meme. He's like, make your bed. That's number one. Why is that critical? Why does that feel so damn good? Because there's days today I didn't make my bed, but yesterday when I made my bed, it felt amazing, dude. So you're right?
You're starting out with an accomplishment right when you wake up. Right when you wake up.
Why is making your bed like an accomplishment?
Because you're doing something productive. You're starting your day with a productive act.
So it's more for your mental health
and it looks clean.
Yeah, it does look good. It looks damn good.
It looks good. I mean, you walk into your room and you're like, damn, it looks good. It's not a mess. You're not in chaos.
Because
you're in structure.
Because that spreads throughout the rest of the house, right?
Exactly. So if you're living your life in chaos, there's no such thing as controlled chaos. I don't like that saying.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't like it.
I really don't like it because honestly, you're creating your life. You're creating that chaos in yourself. So why do you have to try to control it? Why don't you just get rid of it?
Shit.
So number one, I wake up and I make my bed. Second thing I do is I go get a cup of coffee. I sit down and an ideal work day or an ideal morning, I write in my journal. I write my gratitudes down. And I don't limit it. Like so many people go and say, okay, I'm going to go write 10 gratitudes and 10 intentions for the day.
Yes.
I don't put an amount on it because I want it to be natural. I want it to be real. Sometimes I'm sitting there and there's one thing. Other times I'm sitting there and there's 20 things. But it's in the moment. It's not things that it's like, what am I grateful for right now?
It's rhythm, right? Because
it's rhythm.
I remember Luke Wren. Do you remember Luke Wren? Did you ever meet him?
Yeah.
So Luke Wren said once, he came into our office once, and he, for those who didn't know who Luke Wren is, you can look him up online. He's a really cool dude. But he was with the Tony Robbins organization for years, and he came in and did some masterminds. And one of the things that I liked about Luke is he said, everybody's trying to seek balance, and they're trying to seek these like unrealistic or unattainable consistencies. He said, stop seeking balance and just start seeking rhythm.
Yeah.
And when it comes to what you're talking about, hey, I don't need to have a set 10 things I'm grateful for. just whatever rhythm feels right that day, even though there's things that you should do to alleviate pressure out of your mind, like make your bed, because it starts off correctly, then follow the rhythm, man. Follow what feels correct and kind of where your soul pushes you to go, because everything's already within you that you need to accomplish.
Yeah, that's so true. And honestly, I truly believe if you do it correctly, that rhythm will come into place. And for me, I know
What does it look like
that
when it comes into place?
I'm happy. I feel fulfilled from day one. Like you can't start a day writing in your gratitude journal with rhythm and have a bad day the rest of the day.
I
When you're
agree.
starting that with that heart of like, man, I'm grateful that I woke up this morning.
Yes.
You know how often I write that? I'm grateful that I'm actually got one more. I woke up. 150,000 people on average that passed away last night in the United States, and we woke up. Like perspective.
It's a gift.
You know what I'm saying? It's a gift every single day.
As long as your heart
It's
beats, you live.
yeah.
As long
And
as
then
you
I
can
write down
take a
I
breath.
write down personally my I ams. I am is one of the I heard who said it. I don't remember who said it, but I am is the most powerful word in the universe.
Jesus said it.
Well, he could have.
The
I'm
great
pretty sure.
teacher and philosopher Jesus
I am
back
that
in the
I
day.
am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am that I am. And if you think about it, I write down my I ams. I am strong. I am confident. I am committed. I am sexy. I am strong.
You
I'm a
are
badass
sexy.
motherfucker.
You are a
Like
badass
I write,
motherfucker.
like I write that stuff down because again, I want to build that self confidence, and then I'll go and I'll read them back to myself when I write them in the mirror.
That's
This is an
What is
ideal.
that?
Do I do it every day? No.
What does that do
But
for you when you read it back in the mirror? When you're looking at yourself and you're declaring these
you know,
things, what does it do for you?
it builds me up. It gives me the confidence like I can go accomplish anything in life regardless of what life gives me.
Regardless of
I
who's
can't
telling you that on the sidelines, right?
exactly.
Regardless of who your support system is or who your spouse is, or right? You can create that yourself, right?
Yes, I'm looking again inward out. And then I go after that, then I go hit the gym, go work out, come back, get ready, plan out my day, make sure I've got a scheduled out day, and then I get to work.
Yes.
And I get to work.
So let's talk. Are you open to going a little bit deeper into this conversation?
Yeah, you know me, dude.
I know your history. If we can go a little deeper, you talked about being able to wake up. You talked about having one more breath and one more day. You talked about, that gratitude. Tell me why just waking up is a gratitude of yours. Taking another breath is a gratitude of yours.
Well, like I mentioned, like, it took me 16 years to figure out real estate. And a lot of that was I was holding myself back.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008, financial crash, I lost everything. I attached myself so much to the external things that I lost my identity.
Into your growth.
Into my growth, and I didn't understand growth.
Or financial growth, right?
Yeah. And so it was a really dark time in my life. I mean, to the point where it was 2016 that I actually tried to commit suicide. And going through that act and getting that, it's crazy because when you go through that, and anybody that's listening to this podcast or anything like that, if you need help, go seek it. Like, I want to put that caveat. People are there to listen. People are there to help. That is not the way out. Everything is temporary in life. Everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything is temporary. I didn't think that back then. I didn't understand that back then.
So the emotions that you might be having right now that are traumatic or daunting or terrible, the moments you feel like you are not worth taking another breath, all of that is temporary, right? And
everything in life. I mean, the good times, like you're going to have an amazing day today, but is it going to last?
Today,
we don't know.
Today eventually will end, right?
Exactly. So that's why it's so important to live in the present. So for me, it was 2016 that I just decided enough is enough. I'm done. I'm done living this way. And woke up, kissed my kids, kissed my wife at the time, went out to the place I knew I was going to go do it. I had a letter and everything. And I made a choice. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm done. My kids are going to be better off without me. I got life insurance. My family will be fine.
Why did you think they'd be better off without you?
Because I wasn't showing up for them at the time. Or at least I didn't feel like I was.
As a man, financially.
Because I didn't have any purpose in myself.
Was it primarily financially driven?
Financially, mentally, there was a lot of religious stuff there as well. You know, I was told, you know, I at that time I had become an atheist, kind of like I didn't believe in God. Why would God? You know, I was always like I was pretty much a victim. Like this is God's fault. This is everybody else's fault but mine. And I was just that victim scarcity mindset where it's like, okay, I'm done. Fine, I'll show you.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
And Alma, the only reason why I'm sitting here today is because while I was out there, I was on my way, and I can picture it clear as day, get a call, and it was my son on the phone. And he just said, Dad, when are you going to be home from work? I really want to work on my pitching.
Shit.
And so, like, I think about that, and I think about, like, wow. I remember hanging up the phone, and I told him I'd be there at 3 when he got home from school. Wow. And I realized that, yeah, I didn't have any purpose in myself at that time. I didn't feel like I was worth shit. I didn't, you know, but my little boy had a purpose in his dad to learn how to pitch better. Wow.
So just pitching, the idea of being there to go throw the ball with him.
Yeah. And I was there, and we played catch all afternoon.
Now, as you were that day when you were in that place and you were playing catch, like what was going through your head? Like you were just about ready to.
I couldn't stop crying.
Unalive yourself. What?
I couldn't stop crying the whole time.
Why were you crying?
Because of the thought of I knew I needed help at that point. I was avoiding it. And that was the time that I knew that I needed help.
Were you glad you didn't proceed?
I'm here today, aren't I?
Yeah.
And I wake up every morning, and sometimes I do forget that as well. Like sometimes I forget. I love talking about it because it brings it back to full circle. Like, Alex, you're alive. You're breathing.
There's nothing more human than birth and death. And when I think about the idea of just like ending things, you know, of quitting the current existence, I think about, you know, I've had moments in my life. I've actually had multiple times where I saw that as a potential for me or as an option to alleviate the dark, like the things that were pulling on my soul to just be gone, you know, just to be a non-existent. And I feel like for me, it became a point where, and maybe for you too, that where it was like, I just didn't feel the value or the purpose. I didn't have the purpose. Like that was probably it. That's why I love that you call your podcast purpose-driven podcast, because I feel like I didn't have purpose. I felt like I didn't, right? But then you got your awesome son who comes to you and calls you, and he's like, the most important thing to him that day was to play catch with you.
That's it. That's all he wanted to think about, and that's all he wanted to do. And I agree with you. Like it's kind of sad to really think about how often like suicide happens in this world. And
it's common.
It's very common. And, you know, I think that's why I have the heart that I do now. And I see people and I'm able to see them because I've been there. I feel them. Like I can really have empathy. You know, empathy is when you actually you can feel what they're going through.
Can you feel you when you get back to a dark place? Did you learn from you? Can you talk to you about that? Now,
you know, this past year was a really dark moment in my life as well, where I lost who I was. I lost, you know, motivation. Again, I was seeking validation elsewhere. I was chasing life. I wasn't living.
Right.
And I started getting depressed again. I started getting my anxiety back. I started like reverting back into this old Alex. And I'm very grateful that I've been able to do the work that I've done on myself, that I've been able to pull myself out of it. But it's been a struggle. Like I still to this day struggle with it.
What is the best medicine, in your opinion, to alleviate depression?
In my experience, it's reflection. Is being able to reflect on why you're depressed and going down that why train of that emotion that you have. Like, okay, I'm depressed. Why? Well, this isn't working out for me. Why? Well, because this happened. Well, why did that happen? Well, you didn't take this action. And it always comes down to an action that I didn't take in my life correctly is the reason I'm depressed.
That makes sense.
And again, one of the greatest gifts that I learned this last year was that whole notion that everything in life is temporary. Like, yeah, you may be depressed today, but go sit in it. It's okay. Go sit in the depression, learn from it. Again, it's not a failure. It's just you're going through it, sit in it, learn from it, and move on.
I love what you said. It's okay. I feel like a lot of people, and I think this is a trigger for people when they do end it, when they unalive themselves, is they feel like it's not okay to sit in that shit. And it's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable to be there, but it's okay to be there.
Let me put a little caveat on that. It's okay to sit in it as long as you're reflecting on why you're in it. But if you're reflecting on and going down the negative of why, you'll never get out of it.
So the point would be
that's when you start becoming the victim. That's when you're coming, oh, well, this happened to me and this happened to me. And when you start saying this happened to me, you will never learn anything.
Yeah.
Instead, you should say, okay, why did this happen for me?
Yeah, I can see that. I can feel that, man, when you say that.
And so a lot of time it's that reflection and going back to the basics. I get right back to the basics of, okay, I want you to just write down what you're grateful for in this depression.
Yeah, because, when I've gone in dark places, I get to the point where I'm like, I don't even remember who I am. Like, what am I, what am I even here for? Like, what's my purpose? And then once you do reflect, like what you're saying, the reflection aspect brings us back to who we really are, right? Who we really are. And then we can be that person when no one else is around. Who we are when no one else is around is who we really are. And so if we can authentically identify who we really are and talk ourselves through it, reverse engineer how we got there, and then have an ability to say, and one thing that I learned too is when I'm in a really dark time, one thing that really helps me is serving others. One thing that serves me when I'm in a dark place is serving others, is putting others in front of me. What's that?
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. I mean, if you really want to get out of it, like once you reflect on it, once you're writing your gratitude, go find a way to serve other people. One of the things I heard a lot these past few years from people that I surrounded myself with was, I can't change. This is just who I am. And
you're literally the only person that can change it.
Exactly. And so like, I've thought about that a lot this past couple of weeks as well, going like, well, is this really who I am? Can I really change? I mean, you keep falling into depression sometimes. You still have these moments where you're sad and depressed and everything. And then again, I look back going, okay, but you've been able to get yourself out. Look at how far you've come.
And who I am now is much different than who I was.
I'm a totally different man.
Yeah, I look back 5 years, totally different guy. 5 years before that, completely different guy. 20 years back, holy shit. I'm not even the same DNA,
I mean, since we've known each other, look how far we've come.
Oh, yeah. Big time, huh? Haven't we changed?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've changed a ton.
Yeah.
And I just look at that like there is opportunity to change as long as you allow it.
Because you may not like who you are now, but that's no reason to end it.
No, I think that's why people get depressed is because they're not their authentic self.
Yeah. Or they're trying to be who they were in the past. I remember I would talk to Jennifer and I'm like, I just feel so dark. I'm in such a bad place. And I'm like, I just don't even remember who I am anymore. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've changed so much. And she's like, you have changed. You do change. You're constantly changing. We're constantly refining who we are. So of
If
course
you're not
you don't
growing,
feel like who you
if you're not
were. You're
growing,
not
you're
who you
dying.
were. What's that? Say that again.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
Right. Yes. And that's truth, man. If I stay the
It
same,
is.
dude, if I were to stay in the same office, the same place, the same state, the same whatever, I do feel like I'm dying. And if I'm not growing, I feel like I'm freaking dying. And I don't mean like I did a really good job staying in one real estate brokerage for 18 years and having growth patterns. And that's because it was a place where growth patterns were offered. But once those growth patterns stopped, I felt like I was dying. I was in the same place, but I felt like I was dying.
Yep. And you got to get out of that and you've got to change the environment. Again, proximity. And whatever that works for you. If it's changing states, great. I don't believe you have to change states or brokerage to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it comes again inward out.
Yes, right. It's a
And it
personal
doesn't
thing.
matter where you are.
Yes.
As long as you believe in you to go do it, you can do it wherever you're at.
Because you take you wherever you are, right? That's one of my favorite statements. You take you wherever you are. I think Rick Bentley told me that the first time I ever heard that. And I was like, dude, that makes so much freaking sense because it's like, I don't care if you are living somewhere else. There's a lot of power in what Colton Lindsay says about location freedom, but you better be going to that location to seek a better you, to seek
Yes.
the next level of who you are. Is that a fair statement?
That's a very fair statement. And actually, that's where I'm at currently in my life right now. I'm literally in a position, transition, you call it, of, okay, Alex, you have a choice. You can choose to be the same guy that you were and continue to go down that road, or you can choose to level up, however which way you want to do it, and move on and grow and progress and become a better human being. I remember, like right after my divorce, I wrote in my journal, like I had this whole thing about like I did not want to be in any relationships. Like I had this fuck women, like no more. I'm going to be a dad.
And not in the good
I'm going to
way.
focus on being a dad.
Yeah.
Not in a good way. Exactly. Not in a good way. That's all they're good for. No, just joking. Like that's the kind of thoughts that I was having.
Right.
And I was like, I wrote in my journal, become the man you know you need to become, and that will attract the person that's supposed to be in your life. The people that are supposed to be in your life. Ever since I've wrote that down, and ever since I've looked now, again, have I been perfect? No. I'm my biggest critic. Has the asshole Alex come out in this divorce? And yes, it really has. Like I'm not peaches and cream. Like, trust me.
Well, and I think identifying that there are different parts to us. We're not all just these, glorious beings every day, and we have different parts of us. Some are positive, some are negative. It doesn't mean we're bad people. It just means some of us are some parts of us are different.
I'm just grateful that I'm able to recognize it now.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
I can discern between, Alex, that wasn't you. You're a better man than that.
Yeah. Yes.
And ever since I've written that down in my journal, I've had amazing people come into my life. I haven't seeked them. I haven't sought after them. I haven't looked for them. And it's amazing to me when you put intention out there, true intention from your heart, and you truly decide, yes, I want growth in my life, it will happen. It will happen faster than you expect and want or know to. You just put it that way.
So before we wrap up, tell me, maybe this is the coach in me. What's your next step to your personal development journey as you're dealing with the kind of the bullshit that you feel like you're dealing with right now?
I'm kind of over the bullshit. And so for me, I'm not dealing with bullshit anymore. For me, I'm looking at the positive. For me, I'm looking at, okay, where can I go from here? Today's a new day. Yesterday was yesterday. Yesterday happened. I can't change it. What can I do today? So I'm focused on the present. I'm focused on gaining more proximity to more people that will help my future, that I'm able to grow.
So don't stay around people that can't help you grow.
Exactly. And honestly, I am one of those kind of guys that I do like validation from other people. I do like, it's one of my love languages is like,
me too.
Words of affirmation. I do love that. And
Yeah.
so I do seek that. And so I want that in my life. Like, it's not a bad thing. People think that's codependent. It's not. It's part of who you are.
I think it's part of confidence growth on some level.
It is. Yeah. So for me, that's what I'm currently seeking. And I'm going out there. I'm surrounding I'm surrounding myself with great people that are successful, and I'm hitting the ground running. I mean, I've got a goal to do 50 transactions this year. I've got a long way to go. Trust me.
And what would you tell the person who wants to get to that point but they feel like they're in a kind of a bad place? Or let's talk about the person who wants to kind of just end it all. What would you tell somebody to say, hey, just wait on one more day or one more week or one more month, one more year?
Get out of your own head and get to work. You are blocking you. It has nothing to do with outside external things. It has nothing to do with the market. It has nothing to do with anything.
Get out of your own head and go to work.
Get out of your own head and go to work, but don't go to work on real estate. Go to work on yourself.
What was it? There was a Mormon prophet who said, forget yourself and go to work.
I don't know. Know yourself and go to work.
I like that. I like that better. Yeah. Because you still need to acknowledge yourself, right? You still need to.
You cannot give, like, you got to be selfish before you become selfless. You got to know who you are as a person, as a human being, before you're able to go serve and help other people and become selfless. So to lose yourself and go to work doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. I like that. I actually love that, dude. I've had that rolling around in my head as like for decades. I've never really pulled it apart, but I like that. Because, it's like, oh, forget yourself and go to work. Oh, that's honorable. You're forgetting yourself. But in reality, if you forget yourself, how can you serve other people?
Exactly. You've got to serve yourself first. If you're not showing up for you, how are you expecting to show up for other people?
Yeah, because true selflessness takes somebody who has served themselves, who's been selfish at some point, serve themselves, and now they can be selfless and serve others, right?
Yep. And that's really what it all comes down to.
Dude, thank you, Alex Cornwall, dude, for being on here again. I appreciate you. I had an opportunity to be on your podcast too, and we talked about my life. Thanks for sharing with us some of your skills and your processes, and thank you to everybody out here who joins us for Closer Cult Podcast. Hit us up on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, I already said Facebook, and all the podcast channels. And look out for Closer University. It'll be happening soon, which is an app that will enable agents and salespeople to jump on an app on their phone and get tactics from people like an Alex Cornwall, an Alma Merrill, and many other amazing people in the real estate and entrepreneur space. Thanks again. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.